We interrupt your regularly scheduled program for breaking news. This is Samantha Dixon reporting for Channel 1 News. Right now we go live to Berlin, Germany, where the fall of the Berlin Wall has begun. This is truly a historic moment. Some of the people in the crowd celebrating probably remember when this wall was first put in place back in 1961, and now, 28 years later, we're seeing the first signs of reunification for this country. As you can see, East and West Berliners are climbing on top of the wall. There is a chant in the air of "the wall must go." Several people are chipping away at the wall, trying to destroy it. This wall physically represents the division of this country and these people, and now they clearly seem to be saying that this division is no longer needed or wanted. Folks, we may be witnessing the beginning of the end for communism. There are many political leaders since 1961 that have urged that the Berlin Wall be torn down. But the one I think people remember the most at this moment, and the one who I think will probably get a lot of credit for this, is former President Ronald Reagan, who joins us live from his office in Los Angeles. Mr. President, glad to see you, and thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, Sam. Great pleasure to be, well, in a way, talking with you again.
2 years ago, when you stood in the front of the wall and challenged Mr. Gorbachev to tear down this wall, did you think it would come this soon?
Well, I didn't know when it would come, but I have to tell you, I'm an eternal optimist. I believed with all my heart that it was in the future, because that's a single country. This isn't a thing of a division with two groups of people or two different types of people brought together within boundaries. These are Germans on each side of the wall, and the only reason that wall is there and there was a difference was because East Germany was under the domination of the Soviet military when the war ended, and they didn't have any say about what they could do or what kind of government they would have.
I remember once in London, you said that communism was destined to end up in the dust heap of history. Do the events in Berlin tonight make you feel like you were right?
Well, I have always believed that, and I think it will, and I think there's evidence in the world today. We see all over the communist part of the world these great changes taking place. Hungary and in Poland, in the Eastern Bloc and so forth, and other countries that way, and we see a great wave of democracy sweeping the world. And I think what it is people have had time in some 70-odd years of since the Communist Revolution. I think the people have seen that communism has had its chance, and it doesn't work.
President Reagan, you're looking well. We're glad to see it, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you, Sam. It's a great pleasure to talk to you, and to talk to you under these circumstances with this announcement that's just been made. If the wall isn't torn down immediately, at least they could keep the gates open. But I just finished with one thing. When I made that statement with the Brandenburg Gate behind me, and I was talking to a great audience of West Germans, and that statement about the wall, I had an opportunity to look across the wall. Now, the people in West Berlin had arranged the sound system so that my voice was carrying on both sides of the wall. But I could see East German police keeping the East German people in the streets from getting anywhere near the wall, to keep them from overhearing anything that we might be saying on the other side, on the west side of that wall. So there was another sign of their system and how it worked with their own people. They just manhandled and turned them around and would not let them, even though they were staying in East Germany, not let them come near the wall.
Thank you, President Reagan. Thank you very much, and give my best to your wife.
I certainly will, and thank you, Sam.
Big news tonight in Germany. After 28 years, the gates of Berlin are open and the wall is coming down. From the Channel 1 News Studio in Phoenix, Arizona, this is Samantha Dixon reporting. We now return you to your regularly scheduled program.